Colonel Jack Jacobs, a Medal of Honor recipient and military analyst for MSNBC, joined the discussion alongside other experts. Jeff, let's start with you. Given the latest updates from the White House following the full release of the Atlantic's report, has the administration's response shifted in any way? Well, one key change is the White House's strong, coordinated effort this morning to discredit journalist Jeffrey Goldberg and The Atlantic. You can see this in statements from Caroline Leavitt, as well as posts on social media platform X. The messaging, targeting Goldberg, the magazine, and the credibility of the report, was clearly planned and synchronized. They aimed to dispute whether the leaked information was about war strategy or simply military discussions, emphasizing that it wasn't classified. However, the facts remain unchanged, placing the White House in an uncomfortable position. Colonel Jacobs, from a military perspective, how should this information be classified? Is it sensitive, secret, or general knowledge accessible to the public? The debate involves both the nature of the information and the fact that it was shared on a commercial app, encrypted but still potentially vulnerable to foreign adversaries such as China. Any information can be classified at varying levels: confidential, secret, top secret, but the classification itself is secondary to the sensitivity of the content. Whether officially classified or not, sensitive information should not be leaked. I recall my time in Vietnam when our operational plans were leaked to the enemy, leading to a devastating ambush that nearly wiped out my unit. The plans weren't stamped top secret, yet they were still critical. Anyone in national security should inherently understand what is sensitive and act accordingly. Looking at the details of these leaked messages, we now know that Representative Jason Crow confirmed Yemen possesses surface-to-air missile capabilities. If the leaked military information reached Yemeni forces, it could have compromised operations. The release of precise military plans, including drone deployment specifics, could have put American lives at risk. Two main concerns arise. First, the leak allowed adversaries enough time to adjust and render U.S. targeting strategies ineffective. Second, having access to launch times and attack details presents a serious threat to American personnel. Kevin, Trump's team argues that these details were unclassified and is engaging in a semantic debate over whether these were war plans or attack plans. Given that we now have a full view of the messages, how much does this distinction matter? It doesn't matter. The real issue is accountability. If Trump, Congress, or the judiciary refuse to take action, then all this discussion over terminology is pointless. We can debate whether the documents were classified or not, but if no one faces consequences, the conversation is moot. As an editor with years of experience, I always told my reporters, if you receive information, call it what it is. The government does not dictate how journalists define content. Whether it's labeled a war plan or an attack strategy is irrelevant. What matters is that it was sensitive and its exposure was dangerous. The White House's attempt to spin the narrative is secondary to the core issue. This was a security breach, and it placed people in jeopardy. So, who will ensure accountability? With the Justice Department under Pam Bondi and the FBI under Kash Patel, accountability seems unlikely. The House of Representatives, under Speaker Mike Johnson, has shown little inclination to pursue the matter. The current political landscape makes real accountability seem like an illusion. However, eyes are on Senator Roger Wicker, chairman of the Senate Armed Services Committee, who has stated he will lead an investigation alongside Senator Jack Reed. Historically, this committee has played a crucial role in national security oversight, and many will be watching to see whether Wicker steps up. The same scrutiny applies to lawmakers like Mike Wallace and Marco Rubio, who are viewed as potential checks on their party's extreme factions. Most GOP members are straddling the line, expressing disapproval but accepting reassurances that such leaks won't happen again. But breaking the law doesn't work that way. You can't just promise not to do it again and avoid consequences. Jeff, Trump has largely deflected responsibility, claiming he doesn't recall these discussions about airstrikes. Does this suggest he had only a broad understanding of operations, or was he involved in detailed decision-making? That's an important question. Initially, Trump claimed he was unaware of the crisis when reporters first asked him about it, which seems implausible given the gravity of the situation. Later, he was obviously briefed. His typical response to damaging stories is outright denial, and this may be another instance of that tactic. But as we've seen repeatedly, there are moments when denial simply doesn't work because the facts are too clear. While we may not know precisely what level of detail Trump had at the time, it is difficult to believe he was completely out of the loop on such a significant issue.